my camera go? It's still not here. My camera broke. Hang on, 1 minute. I don't know what happened. What the heck? This is going to be difficult. What happened? This was working so well. Give me 1 minute.
Shut up. Okay.
There we go. Oh my goodness. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. Welcome back to the live stream. Now that you can see me, my name is Jeff Fritz. Today is January 10th, 2019. And we're going to write a little bit of code today. Thank you to our friends at Razer who built the drivers for this camera. And it's been stopping and starting. It literally just disappears when I stop using OBS, restart it, and it's not there. There's no camera anymore. I don't know what to do. So I have to disconnect and reconnect the camera, and suddenly it starts working again. Hey, whatever. So, that's a thing. We're dealing with that. Good morning. Look at all our friends already here in the chat room. Let me say hello. How's it going there? Kitstead is here. Hello. Juan Von. How do? Blazer, Mr. Magoo. Who do? Gru do. I do. Charles 74. Hello. Good morning. Welsh Ronaldo. Hello. Good to see you. Korea. Right? I hope I pronounced that right. Korea. Hello. Good to see you. Korea, I think it is. Good afternoon to you, Shy Sharp in the Netherlands. Oh, we're going to have fun today. Tony VCA from Brazil. Welcome. You're going to be in the Netherlands for TwitchCon, says Korea. Oh, that's awesome. Welsh Ronaldo. Hello. Kabazi. Good to see you. Kitstead says Ignite London next week, and you have your place booked. Have fun with that. The Ignite Tour, they're doing some really neat things, talking about Azure all around the world. They're going to 30 cities in the next 3 months. It is a crazy schedule they're keeping. Best of luck to you. I hope you have a good time there. Might be a USB error, says Juan Von. I've been stopping and restarting and rebooting Windows here. There's something there with the drivers for this camera. I received an update from Razer through the little Razer app that's running, and it hasn't been right since. So I think it's a driver. Yeah, definitely think it's a driver. Lee Brandt, the big hairy dude, is here. Hello. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for tuning in. I've got an Okta shirt on today. Look at this. Wait. Let's do this right. Let's do the voice. Hang on. Let me get the voice for it. I've got a voice here for this. One second. Where'd it go? I'm using a new version of voice mod, so it's not quite the same. There it is. Oh, great. And none of these settings work either. How's that? Am I getting sound now? Test. No, it's not getting any sound from me. Hello? I'm going to go back to the old voice mod then. Because that one... It's forcing me into the new one. Well, isn't that interesting? Nope, it's not going to work today. Even if after I killed it and restarted it. Oh my gosh. I'm in a world of USB hurt today. Look at this. What the heck? Kill this app, kill that app. Is that one going to work? Looks like it's working. There we go. Now I can use the... Hang on, let me read this properly now.
Now do I have it?
Yes.
I find your lack of security disturbing.
Yeah, that's totally a thing. Technology, I can't believe it. All these things, why isn't it working right for me? I don't know. Got to deal with all the things. So good to see everybody. Look at this. Jeff Whitmer, good morning. You're in Portugal. It's a 3-hour flight. Cool. Let's see here. Good morning, Blazer Raids. Hello. Azure Sharp with the subscription.
Just subscribed.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And for every subscription, every cheer that we get here on the channel, I'm making a donation this quarter to code.org. They're helping get computer science technology classes into schools in the United States. And that's a charity, that's an organization that I definitely feel that we can support and help grow interest for technology for our young folks here in the States. Thank you so much for the support. SourceScoot, good morning. SourceScoot's another member of the Live Coders team. Can I get a shout out for SourceScoot? Let me. I don't see any mods here who can do that. There we go. Thank you for the follow, Boss Fighter X. Appreciate you joining us. So, I want to talk today a little bit more about the work that we've been doing with these Blazor components that are inspired by, that are intended to be a shim for web forms controls, right? There's very much going to be this migration movement over the next year or two that kicks up, where folks are going to want to migrate their ASP.NET Web Forms applications to something else, to a newer framework where they can get support, they can get updates, they can get new things. They're going to continue to get support, but they can get support for new features going forward if it's .NET Core. So let's give them the ability to get into Blazor and then even be able to consider going client-side with WebAssembly because they're using components. So that's where we're going with this project. And we're working through just the proof of concept, the minimum viable product for a number of these things. I have a demo on Tuesday that I'm doing for .NET Conf Focus on Blazor for that event. You'll find that live. They're saying they're not sure they're going to syndicate it over to the Twitch channel. I'm going to give a little push on Monday and see if we can make that happen. No guarantees. But I want to make sure that I have the ListView working so I can show that migration on Monday as part of my session during the event. So that's what I'm looking for. Boss Fighter X asks, what does ageist mean? Ageist, don't say, say, oh, way to go, boomer. Things like that, right? You young people, you're such a pain in the ass. No, can't do that. Sorry. We want to make this an inclusive place. Everybody's welcome. Everybody is able to have a good time here together. Yeah, we're going to talk about the ListView today. Let me get some music playing, and we'll take a look at the 3 tasks that are out there that I want to walk through and at least consider doing some work on. Yes, us old fuddy-duddies. So let's take a look. All right. I'm going to get some music to code by playing in the background here. And today I'm going to go back to Cyan. There we go. This is music to code by from our friend, Mr. Carl Franklin. Scientifically designed, engineered to get you in the flow, get you in the groove, so that whatever task it is you're working on, you can get focused. All those other worries you might have just kind of fade away because you're getting things done. You're being more productive. Check it out, mtcb.pwop.com, or you can execute the music command there in the chat room like Panda in a Tub did, and get the link so you can get your copy today. All right. So, let me roll over here. Let's get into our code view. There we go. And we've been doing a lot of work on this ListView component. And in particular, we added a bunch of lifecycle events to mimic from ASP.NET. We added things into our base component, back down in here, it actually goes all the way down to this one, base web form component. And this is a component that we wrote in Blazor that's intended to, it's a class we wrote in Blazor, that's intended to mimic the base control capabilities from web forms. So we have the onInitialized async Blazor method that will trigger onInit, onLoad, onPreRender event handlers that you might have had in ASP.NET Web Forms as an attribute. If you had those on your as an attribute, as a parameter on your component, on your control, this will now pick up and handle these.
Just resubscribed for 2 months.
Thank you so much for the resub. 2 months with us. That's terrific. And we're going to make another donation to code.org. And that was with Twitch Prime. Oh my goodness. If you have Amazon Prime, link it up to your Twitch account. That's completely free to do. And you get 1 subscription you can use for free anywhere here on Twitch. If you choose to bring it and use that Twitch Prime subscription on this channel, first off, I'm flattered. Second, we'll make that donation to code.org. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to spend any money. You're already getting free shipping and free movies from Amazon. And now you're making a donation to code.org. You're going to get 17 emotes that you can use here and everywhere else on Twitch that are themed after all kinds of tech stuff. Even Rainbow Bearded Clippy. You've seen the Rainbow Bearded Clippy. Can I get some Rainbow Bearded Clippies in the chat room? Hey, DD Walsh, good to see you. It's Friday. Does that mean there's donuts in the Mobilize.net office? And besides getting the rainbow bearded emotes, the robot emotes, the and then emotes, there goes Clippy. Turns off the ads here in the channel, and you get to throw emotes at my face like you see our friends Stelzy and Copper Beardy doing here. Copper Beardy's another member of the Live Coders team. Good to see you, my friend. Donuts. No donuts today. And then the and thens go flying by. Love the and thens. So thank you so much. Right? Twitch Prime, it's a tremendous thing. Plus they give you free games too. Free games, free add-ons, downloadable content for your games. Really neat stuff. So I was talking about the code here inside of this base component class. And it does these event handlers that we used to have in web forms. Excuse me, I got a little bit of phlegm got to deal with here. And I appropriately handle the onUnload event after render happens. And it only happens once, so you won't get the onUnload event happening dozens of times here. But when it is initialized, so if your component is reinitialized, you'll have the load and pre-render events happen again if more things are repainted on the screen. Which kind of makes sense because you would have had those events fire if the component, if the control was being posted back. You're just not getting the post back happening. It's repainting the control with content from the server side and doing that whole life cycle without you stepping in and doing anything. Really, really neat. Gonna have to research Twitch Prime? Yeah, there's a button. If you have Amazon Prime, there should be a little crown button up at the top of Twitch here that you can click and connect the 2 accounts. The only thing is, you need to remember to click through and resubscribe with your Twitch Prime account each month. It won't renew it for you automatically. I should have taken some decongestant this morning. I'm going to regret that. Okay. So, we have these basic event handlers. There's a lot of other event handlers for the various edit and paging and sorting interactions that you would do. I know. I need to take care of that. I need to take care of that, Janescu. Thank you. But there's these other event handlers that we need to be able to take care of when those other things happen on all of our controls. Sorting, paging, editing, adding, deleting. When those interactions happen, we need to trigger other events and do appropriate things. I don't want to get into that yet because that opens a whole nother kettle of fish. But I want to make sure that I have the simple conversion for the read-only presentation of a list view I want to have that nicely documented so that when I give my demo on Tuesday, it works nicely. So let me go back over here to GitHub. Here's the project right here. Let me put that into the project command in chat. So when the inevitable folks pop in about 5-10 minutes and say, hey, what you doing? We have a project command that tells them, here's what we're working on. So I'm going to say tidying up the ListView Blazor component so that it functions so that it has some documentation and a good migration pattern from ASP.NET Web Forms. Source at, and there's the link. Let's see. Alan Nitro 17 asks, is this a NuGet package or is it going to be? Let me put that up here on the screen. Yes, it is. It's right there. You can click through. This is the 0.30 version, which has the data list component we were working on earlier in the week and last week included as well. They're in read-only mode at this point. They don't have the edit capabilities, but there is a list view, a repeater, and a data list component in there that you can start looking at doing some interaction with. And I want to walk through what that migration looks like a little bit today, so we can write a little bit of documentation to go with this, and get folks that proof of concept that, hey, this works. This is something that we feel we can build on. Start getting that good feeling feedback from folks that, okay, yes, I do like that, but I need component X, and start using that to help prioritize and push this in the right direction. Thank you for the question, Alan. I appreciate you chiming in there in the chat room. Of course, we're always taking every question here. If you have a question you'd like to ask about, we're happy to take a look and discuss things as we're going here on channel. I'm gonna need more to drink later. I can already feel it. Oh boy, here we go. So, we have a series of issues that are opened, and as we go through and I figure out, hey, this is something we want to punt on. Let's hold off on this. We'll come back to it later. I've been creating issues here. I've got 15 of them open. This is completely open source. This isn't a Jeff Fritz thing. I just happen to be the guy on Twitch that's writing code right now, right? And
People know me.
And people know me.
Kaiser Carl 2010 just resubscribed for 5 months. Yeah, 5 months.
Kaiser Carl, thank you so much for those 5 months. I appreciate it. And we'll make another donation to code.org. Thanks so much. You always say the same thing, says MBB. I'm gonna need more to drink. Well, that's what happens in the evening. That's a little bit different. And that's not typically some sort of a caffeinated beverage. No. A little bit different.
Let me add some value.
Svava!
What mischief?
Oh, what mischief indeed.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. And for those 100 bits, we're going to make another donation to code.org. We're going to do a little bit of documentation, a little bit of feeling out what this migration looks like from an existing project. And I'm even going to show you my demo. I'm going to show you my demo that we're working on here today and see what it looks like to do that migration. Feel it out and see if we can write some nice docs.
Alex just resubscribed for 2 months.
Dane Alex, thank you so much with your Twitch Prime for 2 months. And we'll make another donation. Very cool. Well, if you call it a bush latte, it's totally acceptable because lattes in the morning, that's different. That's different. It doesn't work that way. No. Don't do that. Thank you for the hype. So I do have an issue already open down here for let's improve the docs for the list view. So if I click through, and I've purposely built this so that I've got a nice little README here. And if you see something here that needs some improvement, you have a question about, please jump over to GitHub, open an issue. We want to make this something that folks can use and feel comfortable, and it helps answer their problems. So I'm not working on data list. Wrong component. We're working on ListView today. I'm going to pop down there, and all I have is a link through to the original documentation, as well as here's the declarative syntax that the Microsoft docs provide us. And not all of this is implemented. So what I'd like to do is add some information here about what is implemented, and give a link out to some migration docs and talk about here's what you need to do to migrate. Now, I did start a migration folder over here with a little bit of information about some of the changes that are required. And this is a big one that I've already gotten a question about. Hey, maybe you can support Visual Basic so that we can make our Blazor components and Razor templates work with Visual Basic. No. This is something that's way outside the scope of what this project is trying to do. There are converters out there. There are things that folks wrote that will allow you to convert your Visual Basic code to C#. That is so outside the scope of this. I'm sorry. That's a huge amount of change. The bee sting notation, the less than percent greater than tags, need to be changed to the Razor notation. You need imports files, and this is one of the ones that we started talking about possibly having a snippet to do this. And in fact, we have an issue to create a snippet. Simon opened this for us. Publish a snippet package for the static imports to Anabafu enumeration types, as well as other markup snippets. So there might be something we can put together between that and this to make this work. User controls need to be converted to components. Master pages don't exist. That might be something we need to figure out. The page directive changes goes away. I need to write up a little bit about what that is. Namespaces, tag prefixes, they disappear, so you need to remove those. These aren't hard changes. There's a lot of changes you need to make. How's it going there, Sean? Good morning. So those are the top level things that you need to do, but I feel like I need to create a step list through this. Blazor Mr. Magoo, that is a very good point. Master pages could map to layout. The question is, though, you can nest master pages, and you can also have multiple master pages in your application. So you could have multiple layouts, yes. But master page as a concept coming from, let me show you. Just to make sure that folks who don't use ASP.NET Web Forms know what we're talking about. Master page is something like this, site.master, and it has a placeholder. Several placeholders, in fact, where you can inject content. There's another one right there. And this concept of I can inject content into these, we define further what content we want to pass in our page itself with these ASP content tags. And I just have one here, and I specify the placeholder I'm pushing all of this rendered content into, and my master page is defined here. Where in Blazor, this is turned the other way. You have a layout, and all of the content is injected in a place in that one layout page, right? You have one thing there. So content is kind of like a render fragment. Yes. Actually, it's more like child content. So we would need multiple child contents, which leads to this very interesting idea of, can we define a template? Can we define some sort of a layout object inside of a component and almost turn it around so that we call that other thing and pass and almost pass a pointer to our component into it and say, okay, here's the layout. Start rendering this thing, and when it gets to a certain point, return control to me, and I'm going to insert my content inside of it. So maybe there's something we can do with that. Fairy Wings is here. Good morning. It's good to see you. I'm looking for an appropriate sound effect to play for Fairy Wings. I can't find one. There. There you go. Good to see you. From Svava's Love Seat. Yes, Svava has a magnificent love seat. It's actually a troll account here on Twitch that you can find. I'm tempted not to say there is a shout out for Svava's Love Seat somewhere there. All right. So let's talk about what this means to do the migration. And it's going to take us right in, or do we want to talk about that layout? Do we want to experiment with layout a little bit? Let me experiment with the layout a little bit and then come back and talk about the migration. Because I think Blazer, Mr. Magoo, and I are on the same thought pattern here about what we could do with this. So let's experiment a little. Let's go a little off the rails here. So what I'm going to do, right, sometimes you'll hear folks describe this, what we're about to do, this process, as spiking, right? You want to spike a solution. You take a little bit of time and you just try something out for just a brief moment to see if there's smoke there. See if there's something that might be interesting that we can go and figure out. And if there is, well, let's bring it back into the main project. And let's see if we can spike something here and get it working. So I was working in this events folder. I'm going to create a new branch, and we'll just call this Spike Layout and see if we can get this to work. Just to give it a try. And I'm tempted to open Live Share. What do you think, chat room? Should I open Live Share? I know it's on the channel queue, the channel points queue, or the rewards list. I could do this. I could open up Live Share and let folks connect in. What do you think? Should we do some Live Share?
You keep using that word.
I do.
I do not think it means what you think it means.
No, it does. Live Share lets folks connect in and navigate around the code and see what's going on. And since we're doing this spike process here, this prototyping, maybe you, chat room, can find some things that we need to address. Maybe there's something there that we can hit and work through. I'm even tempted to make it a full read-write Live Share. What do you think? I don't know. So let's take a look. I'm going to close all these files. Close everything. Definitely do a Live Share. Let's do it. And since I'm in a new branch, I don't mind if folks do modifications. There we go. Fantastic. Read-write is risky. It is, but you know what? I'm gonna find it. Why isn't it? Why can't I find this? I can't find my sound effect.
Danger's my middle name.
It is. Sean of the Dev asks, does Live Share work with Mac? If you have Visual Studio Code, you can use it from Mac. You can use it from Linux. Absolutely. Anybody can connect in. Let me paste in the link here. There we go. If you'd like to connect, and you have Visual Studio 2019, Visual Studio 2017, you have Visual Studio Code, you can connect in and take a look, wander around as we're writing some code here together. So, how should we do this? How best should we do this? And while we're doing this, we're going to drop into, oh my gosh. Zavali just asked, has requested that we change to hamster voices for the next 5 minutes. What a way to introduce this topic. What a way to work through and spike a solution. And we're going to do it with hamster voices. I can only imagine the giggling from Svava and Fairy Wings right now. Let me switch microphones. Let's do this. There's voice mod. I'm going to move it over here. All right, you can hear me. And let's engage the hamsters. 5 minutes. Hamster mode. Oh yeah.
You know you love it. This is how real developers explain things to their managers. Really, this is how we do it. 5 minutes on the clock. Here we go. So I want to have a page that includes the output of my list view, so we can test it, so we can see what it looks like. I'm going to create it over here. I like the idea of a nav element that we had here for data list. So we get out of their samples, navigate back and forth to them a little bit. This sounds different? Different? Of course it does. Alright, let me see. So I want to copy this same nav idea, put it over here. And I have this for the model binding sample. Let's see. I'll replace those with this. And I'm using a nav link. The nav link lets me add that's interesting. Whoa! Okay. That won't stop. Great. Go away. That paste. Let me stop sharing. I'm gonna have to stop this. It's not behaving right. There we go. And I'm not gonna be able to roll it back. I'll re-enable the live share in a minute here. So these are nav links because it'll give me the ability to highlight which element is currently active. It ends up being a nice user interface. So there's the model binding sample, and from the model binding sample, oh, I don't have a link back to the default. Well, the default sample is doing, it's doing straight data binding. Okay, so I'll just call it simple list view, and that goes to list view, right? Do this. So I have the same CSS class, and I need that same match. I saw that. I saw those smiles. Alvin and the Chipmunks do C#. You need to add an option where I dress like a chipmunk to DD. No. Alright, so now I want to do, this will be, layout test. Let's call it that. Just so we can get back into this. Not layers down. Layout. Okay. And let's start with that same index, so it's nice and easy. Add that. Now let me re-add live share. See if we can get that working again. There's live share. You'll pay for the costume! What? What? Oh boy. There is hijinks being had in my chat room. Alright, so let's try this. Let's mark up what this looks like. Oh, wait a sec. So that nav needs to appear as just a little nav element right there. So I'm going to go back into all of these. Place it like that. So I just have that consistent navigation. There we go. Alright. Testing a layout for the list view. See if we can get this to work. And that's the end of our 5 minutes. Chipmunk mode is over.
And back to normal. Thank you so much for the cash in there, Zivlali. That was fun. And chat room enjoyed the chipmunkiness. Is that a thing? You enjoyed that? Thank you. All right. So I have that, so I can do this navigation back and forth. Pro streamer setup says Simo. You're right. Dee says, do I think wearing your costume would make it more authentic? Yes, that's exactly what I want to be. More authentic, more genuine as a chipmunk. I'm going to edit a poll. In 2 minutes, there's your poll. Go ahead and vote. Happy New Year, Frackberg. Good to see you. You just spit out your Diet Coke. Hey, Fairy-Wing. Hello. Let's see here. All right. So to do the layout, I don't even know. So the layout's got to have some way to pass back. I'm even going to get rid of some of these other templates here that I don't need as part of this. Right, the layout capability that's defined by, that's not it. Defined by the list view. Actually, where is it? It's layout template. And then there is a placeholder ID. Where is it? Item placeholder ID. I'm going to hard code that. Well, nah. Let me get rid of the alternating item template, the separator template, and the empty data template. Just to simplify what we're doing here. We're going to have an item placeholder ID. And let's just call this foo. the way that this should look. Layout template. There's the table. The table's name, if we're to be perfectly genuine and honest, should be Robert the Table. Don't tell him we referenced him. And inside of the T body here, when we do that item placeholder, right? I've opened this twice. Layout template. There is item placeholder. And this gets replaced with whatever the item template is. So this should be foo. If we do this right. 10,000 followers or bits? 10,000 followers. %, say yes. I should make a 10K commitment. 10,000 follower commitment to wear a chipmunk costume. I think that's rigged. Totally rigged. Rigged. Not it's completely fake. Not real. It's rigged. Rigged.
You keep using the word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Yes, it does. It was rigged. Totally rigged. Dee Dee stuffed the ballot box there. See, she's denying it. Look at this. In complete denial. Never trust a friend that wants to put you in a chipmunk costume. Okay? I tell you. Rigged. Let's see what we got here. All right, so if this is our layout template, and I have item placeholder ID, an item placeholder ID right now I think is just marking things. Let me get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of this, and let me bring up the actual. And I don't want to write tests for this. Just I want to see what it looks like and kind of force this a little bit. Let's see here. So where is it? There's layout template, and right now it's marked as obsolete. Where is it? I thought I had. There's item placeholder ID. It has to be here somewhere. It has to be here somewhere, right? Is it over here? I don't see it. So is it down here? There it is. Why is it over here? I don't think it's supposed to be over here. Right? Item placeholder ID isn't... Do I have some echo? No, no echo. Okay, good. You're so excited to see... No, Sean, there is no costume. No costume. Frackberg says... be honest, did I expect anything different? I expected that we would let Fritz keep some dignity here. Well, no, wait a sec. I have dyed my beard purple and rainbow. Even dyed my hair. Okay, maybe you're onto something there, Frackberg. Maybe you're onto something, okay?
60% of the time, it works every time.
Well, it does. Simo... I have some of the best channel points rewards. Well, thank you. You know what they say.
There can be only one.
No. This?
Everything is awesome.
Thank you. Dignity is for losers, says D.D. Walsh. Please. I've worn a sequin jacket, points out Svava. Yeah? It's because I'm amazing. I'm fantastic at this. I nearly forgot. Let me put these on at least. Let me at least get the gunners on here, okay? So I look like a coder. The blazer jacket for .NET Conf. I've been thinking about that. Do I need to wear the blazer for .NET Conf? No, not a chipmunk costume with a blazer jacket. That's a really bad idea. the Blazor for .NET Conf. And there you go. Should I wear it? Yep, there's the link. Thank you, Janescu. Focus on Blazor as part of .NET Conf. Wear a different hat. New hat time. Do I have a chipmunk hat? Asks Two Wolf. I do not. I don't have anything furry like that. Anything else that you'd like to that you want to suggest, Two Wolf? It's amazing how. Oh, geez, DD. You want me to pick? Okay. Look at this. Furry not confirmed. That's right. Yes, amazing ideas when we get together. And MBB says I should wear my Blazor blazer at a Trailblazer event for Salesforce. Blazer. Well, that's a thing. That's totally a thing. All right. So there's a request for me to pick. All right, I'm going to change hats, and we're going to dig into the list view here and start working on this item placeholder. See what we can do to spike a solution. And I think in talking with Blazor Mr. Magoo there, I think we have an idea here for maybe turning around and having some sort of a container pointer that we pass back and forth. Give me a moment here while I go get another hat to wear. Let me see if I can find. You know what I have? You know what I have right here? I can go to platform 9 3/4. It's in arm's reach too. I got blue hair. Platform 9 3/4. There you go. Everybody says I should wear the Blazor blazer for .NET Conf. Beth, Javier, I'm bringing the blazer. We'll see you next week. Somebody clip that. Somebody clip that. Is my room just a bunch of stacked hats or something? So I have a table over here with a bunch of my other gear on it. And right now there's a stack of hats on it because I haven't finished hanging up my hat racks. But there's going to be hat racks on the door over here. There's already some hanging on the door over there. And I need some nice ways to display my hats. I have hats everywhere. So there we go. Singing Mexican, hello. Frackberg has no hair, but blue would be nice comparatively. Okay. Totally. SB7 Samuel, hello. Welcome in. There you go. There's a little bit of information about the project we're working on. But we're attempting to spike a solution here for how the layout functions inside of this component right here, this thing. See if we can come up with, and I like the way Blazor Mr. Magoo referred to it. It's just another render fragment. Can we have a render fragment and pass into it a pointer to this control itself? Maybe. Maybe. And we got this interesting back and forth. Can you request a reward for me to be without hat? Sure, you can submit wear a different hat and say no hat. Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. So let's do this. Let's create a component called template. That's a class. That's not. Maybe I need a class. Let's rename this template.razor and then create a component to go with that. There we go. So now these two kind of work together. And where's the settings for live share? because I don't want to see your... I don't want to see folks' information there. It should be flag visibility on hover only. Why is it still showing? You're taking up valuable space here. No, it doesn't. Don't feel like this is behaving properly for me. Thank you for the follow. As Venice, welcome. Appreciate you joining us. So I don't really have a component up at the top, and in my I don't really want to have a code block here either. So let's leave this empty for now. But inside of here, this is a public partial class. I'm not going to implement inherit from anything. But I do want to have a render fragment property that is the child contents, I think. Oh my gosh, and the Fritzbot got that question right. Admin98, that is the music that I'm playing in the background. Today, this is the song Cyan from that collection. So there you go. So child contents is kind of a, this is a standard in the Blazor components that refers to just anything inside of the tags for this component are what this is. So thinking about this, we might be onto something here. This might just work. Right? Except we're going to need to go through and actually render the content so that we can stop at that appropriate placeholder ID and use that as our placeholder to insert the rest of our content. That's not too bad. That wouldn't be too bad, right? Except I need to pass the layout content into this. I don't think we're too far off here. So we have a template object. We're going to want to render the child contents, but we don't want to render the child contents directly, right? What do I get when I say override? That's something. Is that something I added? I thought that was something. No. There's a way to override the way that it builds the content. And we need that so that we can figure out when we get to the element that has the placeholder ID that's being passed in. So we need the placeholder ID as well. So that's a string. Right? Let's see if we can figure this out. So if we have Blazor render component, because we want to control is it this one? Build render tree. Where is that now? Because that's what's actually going to be rendering the content of this. It's a Blazor component, and then we can do this. Can we implement that? No. Who ended me? Janescu. Hey, user123. Good to see you. So it doesn't know what Blazor component is. And I can't get to build render tree. It's not there. So how do we interact with that? Right, because we need to... Frank!
Bucheros raided my stream with 3 viewers.
Hey, Frank, thanks so much for the raid. Good to see you. Welcome in, Raiders. My name is Jeff Fritz. And, yeah, you can go ahead and defend. We're working on some Blazor components here. Particularly, we're trying to put together the concept of a template inside of a Blazor component and have that template render some other content inside of it. So we're trying to figure out what that looks like as part of this. What were you working on over there on your channel, Frank? Let us know. Can we get a shout out for F. Bucheros there? Let him know he's out on, you're on the road at Ignite Tour, aren't you? Sean, have a good one. Getting back to work. Take care. Component base. Yeah. I don't know. Can I get... if I implement that... Now this is going to cry because... Well, it's got 2 different base classes. Let's just force it into this one for now. And put an X in front of it just to get it out from underneath of that. So now... what was it? Yeah, there's build render tree. Okay. Maybe we can hit something here. Rambling Geek, good to see you, my friend. Ignite Tour Toronto finished yesterday. Refactoring your text-based adventure game. Nice. Have a safe trip home, my friend. Admin 98. Let me pin that question and come back to it in just a few seconds. And I think we can do something with that. All right. So I don't know what I have here. I have the ability to add attributes, add content. Right, and this is how you would render the content that's added. That's not right. Open region? Really? Open component? So this is how, right, we would render the stuff from the render fragments. So if we look at, let's say, child contents, what do we have here? So it's a delegate. That hits the render tree builder has a callback because it's a begin invoke. But we get the callback when we're through the render tree builder. So is there a way that we can intercept that so that as we hit a specific element, we can interact with it? That's going to be what we need to figure out. Render and intercept for the placeholder ID being rendered. Let's just write that note here. Let me come back and I want to take admin 98's question. Asking, there it is. Can I explain about CI/CD pipeline? Sure. CI/CD is actually two different things. CI is an abbreviation for continuous integration. What that means is every time that developers make a change, they make a commitment back into source control, we want to integrate. We want to take those changes and integrate with the rest of the application and make sure it still works. So let's get a copy of the application, compile it, run all of our unit tests, run all of our code inspections that we might have set up, and verify that the work that was just committed to source control is good work. That it works with the rest of the team's work. What you'll find, people refer to that CI typically as part of some sort of larger system that's actually going to automatically do those things, receive notice that there was a change committed to source control, and kick off all of those processes. Here for this project, we're using Azure DevOps for that. You'll also see folks use things like GitHub Actions to do the same thing. If you go to the root of our project here, there is, when I scroll down, a link to Azure Pipelines. I can click through there and I can see exactly the pipeline that kicked off and is managing this project. And there it is. Everybody's welcome to look at this. I've made this project read-only globally, so you can click through and take a look at what this is. You can actually click through and look at the pipeline itself and see how it's constructed, how it's structured. I don't think you can click edit, but you can absolutely take a look at it. And you can see all the times that it's run here. You can even click in and see exactly what runs each time here. I check out the source code, set up my .NET SDK, restore, build, test, run all of my tests, pack up my project, and publish it so that we might be able to release it. And that's where the CD comes in. CI/CDs. The CD is continuous deployment. So that's a practice that a lot of folks, particularly you'll hear folks in Silicon Valley and on the west coast of the United States, really preach is continuous deployment. Once all of these tests, all of this process runs properly, deploy it. You've automatically verified that everything works properly. Deploy it. It works. Send it out. Make it active. Make it production now. And that's what continuous deployment is. When this process completes, let's deploy it. Let's publish it. Let's make it available for our customers to use. And you can do that from here in Azure DevOps as well. You can also do it from GitHub Actions, from other systems as well. Jenkins, TeamCity, they all have this capability. In Azure DevOps, it's called a release. And the release you have pointing to a continuous integration, to a pipeline that completes. This one, the last one that we have here, marked release 9, gets the artifact from when that continuous integration finished and publishes to NuGet.org. So I can build, target things and say, this is a production release. Push it out, I've made it appropriately, and it will automatically build, test, and if it passes all the tests, publish to NuGet for me. And you'll see folks do this with websites. They'll publish a website into a staging area out in their production system. And assuming all the integration tests run correctly, when this completes, it will change the released version of the website and make that deployed staging area now the active production area, and bleed off users from the former production area and get them now connecting and working in the new area. Really great stuff. That's what CI/CD is. Thanks so much for the question, Admin98. And I hope that clears things up. You're welcome to clip that, make this a highlight here on Twitch so that you have that reference later. I've been taking to marking some of these questions in the YouTube videos so that you can click it and jump right to the question from there. Oh, thank you. Is that Sherd? You're welcome. I'm happy to answer that. Answer questions like that. Frankus has a question here as well. Let me touch on this while we're answering a couple questions. And there's another. Let me just touch on a couple of additional items here. Frankus asks, is computer vision possible without machine learning or deep learning? Are those techniques the only way to program object detection? No. OCR, optical character recognition, has been around for a very, very long time. That's not technically computer vision, but there are other technologies like that that measure the change in, and it's a brute force thing. They measure the change in pixels inside of an image, and they use that to do optical character recognition. You can also do that. There are other object detection libraries and technologies like that that are available. However, the machine learning algorithms are becoming very, very good. It's very easy to train them as a generic tool to identify objects, and it's a very classical case to identify text now. There's a classic example now called the MNIST database, that is a database of characters that were handwritten as part of the US Census, and also from universities where folks were writing all kinds of various characters. Well, they've loaded them into a database to teach machine learning algorithms how to identify characters so that we can do better character recognition using artificial intelligence and computer vision. It's not the only way to do this, but doing it this way, because of the power of our processors, because we have such a rich database of characters that we can refer to and train against, you get better, faster results, and now simpler to access results using these techniques. Use it with ML.NET, use it with Python and TensorFlow, and you can get some tremendous analysis out of scanning written word very easily now. All the technologies have access to this, versus OCR is a very heavy technology that there are vendors that make tremendous libraries that do that, but this classical case of just analyzing text is very easy to use, and you can train it to do other things as well. So very cool stuff. Alex180 King, thank you so much for that follow. Appreciate that. Frankus wants to avoid machine learning and DL. DL? As that rabbit hole you don't want to get into. Okay. You certainly don't need to. Legendary Moo has a question going back to how I'm building things over here. Asking, am I using YAML for the build? No. I am not using YAML as part of this process. YAML stands for yet another markup language. And you can save off the way that your pipelines are structured here into a YAML file that describes how this is structured. The more and more reading, the more and more work I do around markup, and the more and more I see how folks abuse YAML, the more and more I'm becoming patently opposed to it. And I'm going to do my best to avoid using YAML as much as possible. So Legendary Moo goes on to ask, has anyone figured out how to run the YAML files from Azure DevOps Services from a command line? No. Nope. Don't know how to do it. Haven't investigated it. Not on my current to-do list. Simo says, hand it all off to Azure for the machine learning stuff. You're right. Oh, yes. YAML is Jeff's kryptonite. Nah, it's not really kryptonite. Just a pain in my neck is what it is. So let me go back here to our list view. Let's dig back in here and think about how we might be able to intercept the render tree builder. This is let me see if we it's a sealed class. So we're not going to be able to implement some sort of a wrapper that looks like this and pass it into another method and be able to detect when these things are calling and handle it appropriately. Darn it. If that wasn't sealed, right, this little chalupa right here. Right, because then we could intercept and we could intercept when it calls these things and make changes. We could do some reflection and kind of force it though, can't we? Isn't there a way to do that? Right? Public class, my render tree builder. Ah, come on. Right, I can't do that. Cannot derive from a sealed type. And I'm guessing that's a security thing, so you can't inject stuff into it. Chalupas. Now you want Taco Bell Frackberg? Yes. Yes. I'm clipping a little bit there. Rats. Don't want to be clipping. Some way that we can interrupt this, right? Child contents dot, and it wants a render tree builder. Is there any way we could pass it something else? No problem there, Legendary Moo. Happy to answer the question. Every now and again, we need to stop and step away and rethink some of the things we're working on. It's quite all right to answer questions here. Take some time. Make sure that everybody gets a little bit of help here. That's quite all right. How can we do this? How can we get in there? Right? It's like if I could inspect this. If I could somehow invoke it a different way. Right? What else can we find out about render fragment? It's a segment of UI content implemented as a delegate that writes the content to render tree builder. Because what I feel like I want to do is I want to create the template, pass into it a pointer to itself, to the component itself, let it render. Can we do that? Can we do that right now? So if this is a component base, what's iComponent? Site disposed. What is site? No, I don't think I want that. Component container. What if a template is just a layout? Can we put a layout in, right? Blazor has the concept of layouts. Can we put a layout inside of another inside of another template? Right? So here's a layout, and it has an @body element. Specify a layout in a component. So that's how we can override the layout. So that's how we can do master pages, kind of. You can nest layouts. A component can reference a layout, which in turn references another layout. So can we render a layout? Can we make our template a layout and render that? Right? Let's look. Layout component base. What do you... A layout is pretty much just a component with a default body render fragment, while a component base is a component with a default child content, pretty much the same. Okay. So... So if we have component base, I don't know what I want to do with this yet. We already have child contents. We have, and we should have the ability to pass this in. Hey, Jean Valjean 80. Hello. Is this similar to routing between components in Angular? Asks at admin 98. No, we're not doing routing between components. What we're trying to do is from our list view. No, let me go to the... From our list view, we're trying to define inside of this component, inside of a directive you might do in Angular, we're trying to define a layout like this with a pointer that says render all of our items wherever you see the object called foo, which is, in this case, right here. So all this other goo here, just output it directly, write it into the output buffer. You found foo, so replace that with each one of the item templates repeated for each one of the items in the collection that we're rendering for, and end with the final content after that element. That's what we're trying to do here. What if, so, I mean, I don't even need the razor half of this, because I'm not rendering the contents directly. Does it have to be an HTML tag with an ID, or could it be a render fragment? asks Blazer Mr. Magoo. It could be a render fragment. I think it could be. Because it just needs to have that ID specified. By the way, that in the model of trying to stick with how ASP.NET functions, right? The way that if I go to before web forms here, if I go to the list view, and if see, list view has a layout template that looks like this. Run at server, I don't care about. That's something we're ignoring across the board. But right, it's this ID is the trick that we're running off of, and that item placeholder is kind of the default name here. So if I run the before web forms project, let me show you what this looks like. Here it comes. It'll be here. I promise. It's on its way. There it is. All right. Don't make me press that button. So when we look at this, let me open the source view. Right, here's that table that's output. I haven't put any style on it or anything. But the list view, it output that table. And here's the element it rendered. There's a separator template. Here's the next item. Here's another item. And here's the footer. So that's what it rendered. So we're pretty okay there. I think we have a good understanding of what that's doing. I don't think I need the template.razor file. I think I just need the template object here. Let me get rid of that. Oh, it deleted. Look at that. It deleted the class also. Punk! Fine. And if this is a base component, no, component base. Right? And we're going to have something passed into us that is that render fragment. That is the layout. I'm going to call it that. Dima, hello. Welcome. Because right, I'm going to create a layout template class that inherits from template, so that when I say render and it has a layout template, it receives this. But it also needs a property for that placeholder ID. And actually, I don't want to make it a parameter. I want to make this protected, because for the layout template, this is item placeholder ID, and we're going to return that so that I have layout template kind of pushing back into this. Now it's when this thing is rendered, it's got its child contents but I almost want to push into it. I almost want to push into it this object. Right? So what if this was inside the child contents? Layout template's a thing. I need to make child contents a thing in my list view. All right. So that's now a thing. That should build. Yep, okay. There it is. So now that layout template is actually this thing. So it knows what an item placeholder ID is. So can I reach into that and pass it? It's a pass down of what that item placeholder ID is. It's a cascading parameter. Can I do a cascading parameter like that that is right, so I do this inside of data list. I have these cascading values that I'm passing down into the child contents. I could pass the item placeholder ID like that. I don't know what the child content is yet, but I need to pass into, if there is a layout template, a reference to this object, but I don't know if there's one in there. I would need to somehow detect it and pass it in. So it's not we're routing between components. We're trying to This is interesting. This is very, very interesting. Thinking. Right, because I can't. The way I do it with the styles, it sets that content and passes data back up. How do I know if there's an item template? How do I know? How do I know what the contents of my component are? Is there some way for me to get in and look at this? The layout is what I want to pass in. Well, this is the child contents. right? And this is going to be a component. Right? Can I call on component base? Can I call... What can I call on here? I can't even call render on this. Crumbs. Okay. What else can we do here? What else can we do? There was build render tree. Oh, you don't know what that is? What do you mean you don't know what that is? Of course you know what that is. Add component reference capture action. Add content. Well, there's close component. Can I say open component? Can I say open component and pass something into it? Hey, Clark.io is here.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
Hello, hello, sir. Thanks so much for tuning in. Can I get a shout out for Clark.io? He's another member of the Live Coders team. What? Hang on. And the bald bearded builder is here. Oh my goodness. Let me make... There we go. Thank you so much for those shout outs. And the bald bearded builder is a member of the Live Coders as well. Make sure you check out both their channels. Thank you for the shout out, Hugo. They're both doing some really great stuff over there on their channels. Michael Jolly, the bald bearded builder, he's working on... you were doing some interesting things with machine learning in video yesterday, weren't you? And Clark.io's been doing some Python learning here on stream. Well, on his stream, not on this stream. Very cool stuff happening over there. So I can't pass in a component here that I want it to render. Right? What else can we do? Add... Ooh. No. So if I can't add a component, add component reference. Yeah, what is that? The position of the instruction in source code. Ugh. Action with an object. So if I have the component, here's the rest of the thing that I want you to go render. Go render it. Right? How do I... This is where Blazer, Mr. Magoo, and I are talking. Can we passed a pointer to the object. Here, now go render the rest of this content inside of this. This is confusing. Part of me wants to pause at this point because I think we've stepped a little bit further here than we know what we're going to be able to accomplish. I don't think we're going to have a breakthrough here, but we're on to something. I mean, adding content, and I've got markup string there, and there's a render fragment. That's just a pointer to some other content. If the rest of this component is a render fragment, right? And that's that's kind of the currency of rendering in Blazor, is these render fragments, right? And these are various objects that we're passing around with instructions of what to render, and we insert them into the hierarchy. If we can convert from a component base into a render fragment, if there's a way to make that conversion, we could theoretically right? Call it right there. And pass in, well, here's the control. It's not bad. But does it work? Can we get it? Create our own component base and make the render fragment public. Well, right, that invoke is the render fragment, isn't it? It's private in the standard one. Really? Can I get to the source code? No. Microsoft ASP.NET Core Components. Let's take a look at that. This is the source code for ASP.NET. There's all the docs. 206 repositories here. Oh, dear Lord. Is it in here? No. The standard one does some clever stuff in the constructor with its render fragment delegate. Where is it? Did they move it into the .NET? I think they did. It might be in the .NET repository. No, not .NET presentations. Yeah, it's in .NET ASP.NET Core now. All right. There it is. So they've consolidated a bunch of the source code repositories to make it a little bit easier to reference and keep things in lockstep here. Oh, crumbs. Where the heck is this? Microsoft ASP.NET Core Components. I'm looking for component base. There it is. This one right here. Render fragment. Where's builder coming from? Has pending queued render, has never rendered, build render tree. Builder. Looking. I don't see it being called. Where is it? Other code in this class should not invoke build render tree directly, but instead should invoke the render fragment field. And there it is, inside of state has changed. Kinga has a link here. Rendering a component instance with Blazor components in a Blazor app. Open component of type counter. Add component reference capture. That might be onto something. we'd be able to do something inside of, what is this? Event component base. What? Here's definitely right here's somebody who implemented their own component base and is delegating back to it, right? No, they're not delegating back to component base. They implement iComponent directly. Oh man, okay. Okay, so this feels like this feels like a way we could make a template class. Yeah. Definitely we could make this a template class that does, when render fragment is called, access it. Getting a handle on that placeholder ID, that is going to be tricky. Right, we almost want to be able to raise an event from inside of build render tree. This is going to be interesting. This is really interesting. I like this sample. I like this sample a lot. So that you can attach to those various events. And look who wrote it. Well done, sir. Well done. Yeah, if we could attach to that render tree. If you want, you can access the render fragment of the instance using reflection and draw that. Really? So we're effectively running our own render fragment rendering here. Oh, friends. So we would kick off our own renderer that uses a little bit of reflection to inspect the template. Go find all the elements. Right? This is interesting. No, you can't inspect the elements easily. We're going to have to use reflection to dive into each one of these. So get private content, get private field of instance get type, the component base instance, render content counter instance. So it's passing in a new counter. get a private field of that, and it's getting the render fragment private field. That's simple reflection to dig in and find it. Once it has it, let me take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. Because, oh man, we're going to start unwinding a little bit of this. Yeah, it reminds you of Willy Wonka quote. Oh my gosh. I need... Willy Wonka quotes. We definitely need some of those on the channel so that we can have a
Flawless victory.
We're not there yet, but it would be so cool, right? And I feel like my mind is going in several different directions with this.
This is only a test. If this were a real Fritz emergency, you'd be hearing about freaking out and panic.
And we're not freaking out and panicking. Okay, so okay. So we have a template object. We want to pass into it the reference to the outer component. Right? Because we want it to render at the top level. No, we don't need to pass a reference into it, do we? Pass into it a render fragment, something, a pointer, something to hand rendering back to the component. Okay. On initialize. Oh, we also need to pass in the placeholder ID to replace content at. On initialize, inspect the content of the layout of the template render fragment. Render, start rendering content. Pause at placeholder ID. Hand control to the parent component. When that ends, complete rendering content. Right, I think that's the general flow that we're looking at here, right? So you don't want to rewrite the list view and replace it through a rendered fragment from code. No, I think that's exactly what we're talking about in Nifix. I think that's exactly where we're going to end up here. Right? Okay, so how do we initialize the template and use that as the outer component to start rendering? Is that JFML? Yes, that is Jeff Fritz markup language. Lots and lots of angle brackets. And this should be template on initialize do these. This should be template dot on parameter set. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Where's the language? We already have this capability. To do these. Where's the language? There it is. I want regular English. Not Ireland. This one. Yeah, I already have that capability. We've already got that. It's the create a layout to go around it. So let me try. When does render content? When does that? Oh, well, it's being called up there. So what if we did that? What if we did that? Let me go back to adding a razor component to go with this. Right, even though I'm... yeah. Let's do it like this. Right? Template. Okay. So now if I said render content, whatever that instance is, and render content goes through and does a couple things here. So if I say render content, the component to render, right? And render content doesn't exist yet, so let's create that. And I'm actually just going to copy this in. What do you mean you don't know what you are there? Missing partial. Oh, let's rename this to inner template. There we go. Just to give it a different name. Okay. Love the Stack Overflow reference there. I'm going to get rid of you. I'm going to let these reflection items pop in. Okay. So render content, set get private field render fragment. Render fragment, get fragment field get value instance. This is interesting. And I'm curious what it pops out here for us. Right? And this is all part of spelunking, right? We're just trying to figure out, is there something here that we can use? So in order for this template to appear, that layout template needs to be rendered, needs to be placed on the screen somewhere. So if I go back to ListView, so we'd already defined... well, we defined layout template inside the child contents. So we need to put child content somewhere. So if I put child contents up here, what happens? Here's where we're going to start tinkering and breaking and trying to get this running. So I'm going to do a control F5. So that it builds without the debugger attached. I didn't want it. I wanted it running on IIS. Yeah, that's right. You're broken. Don't know what to do with nav. Nav, it's right there. Nav. Nav. You know what nav is. Nav. There's nav. So why doesn't that, like... Now it does. Alright. I'm going to pull this down and choose IIS Express. See if it'll run now that it's done some recompile. No. Ah. Now let's see if it runs. Yeah, build succeeded. Here we go. Ooh, oh, I didn't change my layout. It should be going there. My bad. Not that one. Right, layout test, yes. And since I'm running this without the debugger attached, I'm able to restart. So there's list view, and I go to layout test. What do I get? Object of type Blazor Web Forms Components layout template does not have a property matching the name child content. Where's that being set? Where are we blowing up? Over here. Child contents. Fine. Does not have a property matching child content. Okay, need to rebuild. Let it go. Let's see what we get. Yeah, this is very interesting what we're running into here. Let me just check my schedule. We're good. We're good for a little bit here. Back down into list view, layout test. That worked. That worked. Friends. Okay. There's my testing a layout, and I don't have any of the table information. It didn't render any of that. That did something. I don't... Worked is a strong word. But it didn't blow up further. Okay. So my table that I put into the layout template, it did not output. Okay. Let's go... So let's start pulling this apart now. Right? So render content, the component to render. Well, the component to render wasn't set to anything. So, yeah. But I called render content, which is trying to get the render fragment, get value, the instance, return value. Right? It should have done something there. Let's go back over to this. Okay. It doesn't look like it actually rendered that anywhere. Do we see those hyphens somewhere? We're gonna need to inspect. above are the child contents. No, didn't even rerun it. Trying to figure out what are we getting delivered right there. So it didn't render anything. That's the error information. So it didn't render anything right here. Hey, Sheesh Singh Bagel, good to see you. Yes, you got a subscription. Okay. So, did we actually trigger this render content stuff? So let's click into here and let's actually attach the debugger this time. See where that hits. "100% sentiment." Look at that.
Everything is awesome.
Look at that. How long do we have left? For what? I don't know. I have a meeting in about an hour that I need to get to. Thank you for the follow, Austin Poor. Welcome. Okay, I clicked into there and it didn't actually stop here. So that tells me that this wasn't rendered. That it didn't actually call into this. Thank you for the follow, Sangyu. Welcome. Thinking. Why is it? So the child contents, it should render. The child contents have a layout template here. Oh no! Now I see why you asked. We've been asked to switch to a text editor for 15 minutes. This is going to make it a little bit more difficult. We can do this. Chat room, we can do this. Let's make this happen. All right.
Oh my.
I know. Which is going to throw me out of the debugger. That's okay. I don't need no stinking debugger. All right. I will stop that. I will close Visual Studio. Mr. Michael Jolly, I see what you're doing here. I'm going to take my little bit of notes here. See that? Notes? Put that over here. I'm going to take this Firefox that I was using and close that up. What's this one over here? That's some other notes. Fine. We will do this. We will open a command prompt. Put it somewhere over here. Make it... I don't want it just over there. I want it on the lower half of over here, like this. Make it maybe a little bit something like that. Fine. I'll show you. Let's see here. Let's go. Which one do we want to build? We want to build after samples, after Blazor server side. Watch this. .NET watch run. There it is. Now it's building, and it will rebuild whenever I make a change in one of my files. Good. I've got that working. All right there, tough guy. You want to make this difficult? Huh? I'll show you. All right, so Blazor web form components. And I'm working down in here somewhere and over here. Just going to make that somewhere over here so I can find it. And I'm working in this file right here. Open with Notepad. Notepad! Where'd Notepad go? 15 minutes on the clock. But I can't look at this notepad with blue blockers. That's better. Now I can see my code. This is how you code with Notepad. Am I right? Very fancy Solution Explorer. Notepad doesn't have a dark mode. No. No. We're going to put this over here. This over like this. All right. And let me bring up the webpage we're working on over here like this. All right. And we're down here in ListView, and we're looking at the layout test. All right. Bring it, Michael Jolly. I got you. I got you. Notepad only has Joe Cool mode. That's right. Notepad cool mode. 14 minutes to go. Get me out of here. Get me out of here!
This is only a test. If this were a real Fritz emergency, you'd be hearing about freaking out and panic.
Oh, I'm already panicking. I'm already there. Okay, here we go. So, nothing output here for testing a layout. Even though, so that tells me that it's not actually rendering and passing things into the template object. The template object is coming out of here. It's calling child contents. And I need another one of these. Can I have another one of those? Start from just about the same place. Can we do that? And walk up one, walk up another, over to my samples folder, which is over here, and this. And I'm down in, I can't believe you folks are doing this to me. Down in ListView, and we're looking at layout test. That's the one. That's the ticket over here, right? More Notepad! Okay. We can do this. This is me proving you don't need Visual Studio to work. You just need a pair of TwitchCon sunglasses and a positive attitude and the ability to walk through this, and you know what you're doing, and you can
Do it live!
I'm doing it live here. Thank you for the follow. My name is Infi. Welcome. Slight touch of insanity. Slight? No, what did you do? Blazer Mr. Magoo asking for a... What is this? Wear a different hat. Anything with fuzzy ears. I don't have anything with fuzzy ears. I don't right now. My choice? This is my new favorite hat. The Nostromo. The ship from Alien. Alright, so let's take a look at this. So, child contents layout template. This should be referencing and calling into, right? Calling into our layout template. Layout template. Where's template CS? I thought I had template CS open. I don't have it open. Don't need that right now. Don't need you either. I don't know why you're open. Go away. Shoo. So this should totally be a thing. I don't know why it keeps opening over there. Alright. I'm so organized with all my notepads. Notepads? How's that notepad IntelliSense working for me? It's working fantastic. No Phillies cap. They're on the other side of the room. It would take me a few minutes to get there, and I want to honor my 15 minutes of notepaddedness. Is that a thing? For the bald-bearded builder here. So this should be called, and it should be rendering the inner content of what's being passed in here. What if we did this? Let's just make sure that this @child contents is working. Let me come back over. Not that one. Let me come back over to Layout Test Razor. And instead of calling Layout Template inside of there, let's just make sure that we're getting, right? And I can comment this out in Razor. Yeah, look at that. Right? See that? Look at that. That's some great IntelliSense there. So let's see. I could just do something here like, right? Child contents. Right? And it should render that. Now look, I saved the Razor file because I used that watch command from .NET, the .NET command line. It's rebuilding right here, and I should get this loading up. Do it. Go. There it is. And now I can refresh, and I should get... There it is! Okay. So that worked. Let's make that look better. Right. So, right, there it is, rebuilding again. And it does a full rebuild. It's not like just rebuilding that one piece that changed. That was an optimization that we used to have as part of this that it doesn't do, but okay. Now I'm getting that child contents rendering that are inside the child contents. So if it is going to hit the layout template, so what if we just made the layout template just that, right? Comment out the rest of this garbage, right? So now layout template is just the words child contents, right? Sorry. It should give me some part of that, and it doesn't. Okay, so is layout template being called? Check the browser to see if layout template is being rendered in the HTML. So what Blazer Mr. Magoo is suggesting, and that's a very good point. Let me highlight that. Is it possible the layout template element is being rendered just not, and because it's not an HTML thing, is it not being painted on the screen? No, layout template is not being rendered. Let's continue. Layout template is, where's template? Here. That's the CS. Well, this has child content also. Let's go to the Razor for this. Let's just have it output child content. Just get that stuff on screen. Now that didn't cause this to re-render, to rerun. So I don't think that's, yeah. I've got to start and restop it. Start and restop it? Is that a thing? Stop and restart it. Ugh. What are we going to do without the red squiggles? I know, Eternal Dev Coder. I know. It's so hard. Okay. I'm still not getting anything output for the layout. The game is afoot. This is in the template Razor. See if we get that to, and it didn't restart. I don't think it's restarting because it's not seeing the change in the Razor file over on the child project here. 5 minutes left on this mode. Oh, I need to put a timer on the screen for this so you can see just how much longer I still have pain. No, still not picking it up. Okay, so it's not hitting my layout template at all. Can I put the component to render on the page? Well, the component to render isn't actually, right? I'm not setting that anywhere right now. Am I? That's the razor. I need to look at the... See, I'm not even seeing... Yeah. I'm not even seeing the child element yet. This shouldn't be child contents, right? It should be child content. Right. Build failed. I did change it. No, don't open that. We don't want Visual Studio. Michael Jolly said so. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's gone. It's gone. I promise, Michael Jolly, it's not here. Restart. Don't you fail no build on me. Don't you fail no build on me. Nope, build failed. Error. Unrecognized child content inside component list view. The component list view accepts child content through the following items. Blah, 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 blah. Should it be, is it child contents or child content? I do this in data list. Child content. Okay. Back to list view. Unrecognized child content inside accepts the following: alternating item template, empty, item separator, item template, layout template, child content. I bet you I have... Do I already have layout test open? Try that. There it is, rebuilding. Go baby, go baby, go baby, go. Go baby, go baby, go baby, go. Okay. It's running. Back over here. Retry. No. So I have layout template. It sure doesn't look like it's doing anything with layout template. No, I'm not resetting the time, Hugo. No. No! No. Not doing it. So, okay. If layout template, ignoring... Is any of this being used? I don't think so. I don't think so, because layout template doesn't have a .razor file to go with it. Even if it did have a .razor file to go with it, it would need to have... Right? So... Oh, what's the override? I've got less than a minute I can hold out. So... If we did this, let's open another notepad. If we had another one, and inside this, we put the same content as is template razor, except we called it layout template .razor, right? And this inherits layout template. Does that work? Restart. That sound means I don't have to do this crazy notepad stuff anymore. Partial declaration of layout template must not specify different base classes. Inherits layout template. Template inherits layout template. Template CS implements component base. So do I do that? And back over here. Not that one. Can I make this? Like that? Oh, and it's not. It's inner template. Restart. See this, and I'm even going a little bit longer. Yeah, now it worked. Well, kind of. Now it did something. Uh-oh. Wait a sec. We got somewhere. Template CS line 39. Uh-oh. What is that? I can't read it. Oh no. What did you redeem on me? Papyrus for 15 minutes. Papyrus? Okay. Hang on. I can get out of this mode. Can I? Can I do this? I need to do this. All right. We got somewhere. Let me close this. Close all this other junk. All these notepads. Notepad, notepad, notepad. Notepad, 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 notepad. Oh, by the way, would you like some notepad? How about a side of notepad with your notepad there, Mr. Notepad? All right. Back into Visual Studio. Take care, Blazer, Mr. Magoo. I think you see we're finding our way down through this. Text editor plus Papyrus. No! No. No, no, no. I will not do that. No. Scott! The bad man did a thing, Scott. I am not doing that. I need that Meatloaf song now. I would do anything for viewers, but I won't do that. Maybe. All right, Papyrus. Gonna pump up the font size just a little bit so it's easier to see. You really want to make this difficult for me. Is that good enough? Can we read that? Go back to change fonts. I think I need to make it just a little bit bigger.
Add some value.
Thank you so much for the cheer. Look at that.
We actually accomplished something with Notepad.
We did. Yes. He's not wrong at all. We did actually accomplish something with Notepad. We figured out why our templates weren't working, and we got it doing something. Yes. And now we
Put the candle back.
kind of. We went back to Visual Studio, but I've got to do Papyrus now. No, we don't need Vim here. No. No Vim. No. No.
You can do it.
I could do it, but I'm not doing it. All right. 15 minutes with Papyrus. Here we go. I'm going to need to wrap up shortly after that. Okay. So that errored out. Reference not set to an instance of an object. While calling render content, looking at the instance get type of render fragment. So it didn't, excuse me, it wasn't able to get to that. I'm out of rats. So why wasn't it able, right? Get private field. So now I can hook up the debugger. Haha, now I can hook up the debugger. Let's do that. Let's take a look and see what we have when we hit here. We're going to be debugging in Papyrus. Who does this? I'll tell you who does this. This crazy son of a gun. There we go. The Blazor error messages getting better. They are, the Blazor error messages are definitely getting better. Yes. But we're way down in the weeds here. Instance, so we don't have instance. So nothing was passed in here. There was nothing passed in here. Oh, because, we are in LayoutTemplate.razor. Ta-da! The component to render doesn't have anything in it. Okay, that's fine. Yes, yes. Right, we were just trying to get to... Right, I can actually comment this out to make sure. Let's just do that. Make sure that the thing runs here. And I'll run it without the debugger attached so I can see it actually output here. There we go. Be glad the tool windows aren't in Papyrus. You aren't wrong. I need to be able to read some of this thing. There we go. This is in the template razor child contents. Okay, so there's the child contents, right? If I put something else in here, right? And I refresh this. Well, it doesn't refresh it because it's inside of a... Right, I need to actually rerun it. Oh, I think we're onto something here. The problem with the Vim reward is we'd never be able to end it because you can't exit Vim. Woo! I know how. There it is. So, okay. So I am getting child contents out of the layout template. Okay. Okay. So now let's do the render content thingy here with the component to render. So we need to pass in to the component to render. The component to render. So what is the component to render? I need to have a reference passed into the layout template for the list view. So how do I access that inside the child contents? How do I get that reference into here? What if I have some sort of a state object? Because I want to pass a pointer to this object. Right? What if I had some sort of a state object that was a cascading parameter? Then I could put into that state object a pointer to this thing. And be able to reference it from there. What if I could do that? Right? So base model binding component is a base web forms component. So what if I had some sort of an object? What if... Do you see where I'm going here? Can we do this? Can we do base web forms component? Host component, right? Equals this. Can we do that? And make this a cascading parameter with a name, right? Of, let's call it host. Right? Why can't we do that? What do you mean you don't have a current context? You do have a current context. You do have a current context. You do. can I say host component equals this? And maybe that's something by the time it gets to us. So if we go back over to here, cascading value, name equals host, value equals host component. Can we do that? Yes, there are developers who only use Vim for development. And they can be quite productive. Thank you for the follow, Albert Massask. Welcome. Appreciate you joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat room. Keeping an eye on things. Oh, cool! Look at that. All right. What happened here? Okay. No dependency on mouse. And that's not a bad thing. So if I'm going to receive that cascading parameter for what the host component is, we can do this. We can do this. So this is not the component to render. This is a, right? Base web forms component. And it's not just a parameter. It's a cascading parameter. We can do this. Name equals host. It's a capital H. So now, are we going to get that thing? Is that going to be a thing when it gets here? Let's see what happens. I think we got something. I think we got something here, friends. Right? We're going to get this. Come on. Come on.
Throw me a frickin' bone here.
I think we have. Let's see if this hits and what it contains. So layout test. Instance. It's got the list view. And now I'm in an infinite loop. I'm waiting for the Stack Overflow to hit. Okay. So we somehow need to stop it. Right? We need to somehow stop it. Stop the render process. Are you kidding? Eternal Dev Coder.
Oh my.
All right. This is the last one of these that I can take today because I'm going to be running up against the end of this. We've been asked to turn on light mode now. My productivity is under attack. Yes, MBB, it is. When am I going to be back on to see the results of this? I'll be back on... I'm not going to be on Sunday morning because I fly on Sunday morning. But I'm going to be back on Monday morning instead. Monday, I'm going to be broadcasting from Redmond, and I'm hoping to broadcast from Channel 9 Studios that morning. I hope you tune in. But Sunday, I will not be on because I'll be flying to Seattle for .NET Conf. This is absolutely Jeff trolling. Trying to make me a stronger person. Look at this. Look at this. Trying to make me a stronger person. I tell you. All right. Theme. That's not theme. Gosh. Oh, we lost Papyrus. It must be thinking, why would anybody want papyrus with this? We do. We want papyrus with this. I've got 4 minutes left on papyrus. Set a timer for 15 minutes.
Okay, 15 minutes and counting.
All right, light mode for 15 minutes. Here we go. Builds character? No. Builds pain is what it does. Lots of pain. So what I want to do is I want to have some sort of a setting coming back through that I can tell not to do this. To turn this... That I can tell... Yeah, I need to be able to tell it the second time through not to render that. How am I going to do that? Wow. How do we do that? How it's right, because we're rendering the same thing again. I feel like I don't want it to be a static. Well, we're passing an instance of this, so we should have it, right? Some sort of render count. Make this protected. Go back over here and can we say if render count equals 0, do that. Can we do that? Maybe that'll work. I don't increment the render count yet. I forgot to do that. Oops. Hang on. So now over here, after that, I want to put it on the on after render. Let's put it on after render async. So if we make this async, it's going to keep rendering all the way down. No, wait a sec. No, render count equal plus plus. Now let's see what that does. No, that wasn't Cortana. That was Siri. Can I check to see if the host has already been set and is equal to this? That's not bad. Oop, look at that. I'm already hanging. I'm already dead. Nope. Can we... Well, host component is already going to be set. It's the second time through. How do I know that it's the inner time through? So I'm done with Papyrus. Let me change font back to Cascadia code. And thank you so much for the little bit of challenge there. Thank you. We will mark that as complete. We're going to finish up light mode here. And we'll flip back. Track state with has it initialized. Has initialized. Has initialized. If we make that a cascading parameter, So, right, we need to know the second time through not to render the layout. Because what I do want to render is the layout template. I want to render the content that's inside of that. Figure out where to place the content and re-inject it without the layout template. So it's it's the second time through. That's a cascading parameter that I want to pass back up. So what if we did that? Layout template initialized. Rendered. We do something like that, and we start off with this as false. Come back over here. If not layout template rendered, right? Nope, not that. This. Put it in there. Put it over there. We're good. Hey, look at that. I think I know who we're going to render now. Okay. I think I know who we're going to raid next. There we go. Is blue mode also light mode? Yes, it is. It's just giving me the blue up here and on the edge. It's light where it counts. So now I can go back down into layout template, right? Which is over here. And I can receive, right, I should be able to receive that cascading parameter. Right, bool. Hey, there it is. So now I have a way to inspect, has the layout template been rendered? And I'm going to set that value when render content is called here so that it doesn't call it again. So that when that is called right there, it doesn't re-render this again. I think that's where we want it. Shenanigans? Webface? I thought we were friends. Come on, man. Wow. I know. All right, let's see. Nope. Not getting loaded in there. Let's put a breakpoint here. Ba-bang. Layout template rendered false. Okay. So now we've set it to true. Where'd it go? Yeah, see, I'm back in here where layout template false. Is it hitting this a second time? There it is. If not, layout template rendered, but it's false again. But layout template rendered is over here and is false, and I set it to true down below. It should have flowed back up. Or is it not flowing back up? Oh, it's a bool. It's a struct. It's a value type. It's being copied. It's not a class. It's not a reference. So it's not a pointer. So we're getting copies of it each time. We're not getting a value. That's it. Take this off of here. Put this. So now that's part of the component object that's being passed down. So now I can inspect inside of here. I don't have that being passed in, but I can inspect, or I can set that. Okay, which means I can go back into ListView, and here that should be the same value, and I don't have this cascading value being passed. Right. Thank you for the follow. Hi there, 4123. Welcome. My chat room is teasing me here and taunting me by making me use light mode for the next 4 minutes. So I've got the sunglasses on because, let's face it, light mode's pretty bright. Let's see. So I hit list view. Where did it go? Oh, I'm here. All right. Layout template rendered false. So it should render the child content. So it's... No, I've hit it again. I haven't even hit inside the child content yet. Right, I haven't gotten into the template and here. Why isn't that? Right? There it is. So now it's set it to true. And now it's true, it's not going to render the child content. Now I've got it. I got through to the layout test. There's nothing in here. Did it at least... It didn't render this. Try that again. False, so we should get the child content. So here it is. It's going to set that back. And now it's rendering it a second time, and it's already rendered it once. Oh, now it's rendering it a third time. So it's got the child content. So here we are down, and it's. And now I don't have it. Right, so we're trying to stop it from walking back up. Yeah, I'm gonna need to call it a stream here in just 2 minutes when we're done. When the light mode is done here. Why am I not getting any content walked back up now? It's because we re-render because there's additional content. We only want to do that when it's the first time. What happens if we move this? Right? No, I think that's the right place to put it. But it's like it's a new component that it's rendering. What if we told it not to render the host component? What if we told it instead of passing that in? What if we told it to render... No, we wanted to render the contents of this, which is going to be the other child content, the rest of the child content, this stuff. right? All of this great logic that we've built. What if we took it and... I feel like we're close here, friends. There we go. I can turn off light mode. And I also need to wrap up the stream here. I think we're on to something. Don't go into the lights! No! No! Stay here. Stay with us. Right?
Stay with the dark side. Join the Sith. No? Right? That's a thing.
Totally a thing. Totally a thing. I'm going to keep tinkering with this. I think we're really close, but I do have some meetings that I need to get to. I'm going to keep this spike around. And in fact, let me stop this. Do I still have? Yeah, there it is. Let me add all of the files here. Let's clean up and get ready for our raid. Investigating passing the list view into the layout template object. Right? What? Oh, I need to... Now it's going to prompt me. Fantastic. Git push origin, and we're going to create a new branch out there called Spike Layout.
Oh my.
Yeah. Push that out there. If you're interested in checking out, going a little bit further with this, there's where it is. It's out there in the public repository for this project. If you want to take a look, if you want to explore and see if you can figure out a little bit more about how we can get templates to work inside of Blazor components. I think we're close. Thank you, Hugo, for sharing the link. I want to set up for our raid. Can we put the raid call out? And I'm going to take a look at where it is. Raid channel. And let's see. I thought I saw... Yes. Here's somebody who hasn't been streaming for a while. She is an amazing streamer talking about PowerShell. Good friend. We're going to raid Potato Quality today. Let me put a shout out there for Potato Quality. She's another member of the Live Coders team. And she's hanging out over there working. Looks like she's working on her book, writing some PowerShell code. Take a look. I hope you have a good time when you get over there, and make sure you copy that raid call and say hello when you get there. There it is right there. All right, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. I published another one of our streams out to the YouTube channel. I've got a bunch more I'm going to send out there later today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Get ready to say hi to Potato Quality, and I will see you Monday from Redmond, getting ready for .NET Conf. Focus on Blazor. Take care, everybody. I'll see you then.